It is Pride Month, everybody. Happy Pride. It is the 3rd of Pride Month, and this is my first video of Pride Month, so here, give me applause, I guess, or something. I don't know. We're going to go over this video on recommendation from somebody from the Discord server. From Think Before You Sleep. We love this guy. We love Think Before You Sleep. Not annoying at all. Not a douchebag. I've gone over him a few times in the past. He is just kind of a shitty person. I don't like him. But yeah, apparently the LGBT movement is failing. I disagree. I see lots of gay and trans people everywhere, and I don't think they're going anywhere. So, you know, like the funny thing about their saying like the LGBT movement is failing. No, it's not. No, it's not. Like, it's not. You could say technically that it's failing, I guess, in the sense that fascists run the country right now, sure, but that would imply that we need to help the people who are suffering as a result of the fascism. I think that calling that failing is a bit of a misnomer. But the LGBT movement is destined to, the movement, quote unquote, is destined to succeed because there will always be gay and trans people. It's just a matter of time before they're broadly accepted by society. Anonymous has joined the Scouts. What does that mean? Oh, I see. Because of this. Got it. Yeah, it's very odd looking. I don't know what we're looking at here, but we'll take a look.
Some carry hate. We carry the largest trans pride flag to ever be flown in a national park and unfurled it on the side of El Cap to prove a point that trans is natural.
Please, tell me what's natural about having to wear a wig and tons of eye makeup to try and get...
Oh yeah, I was also told that this one is like disgustingly bad. So we should have a good time.
Trans is natural.
Please, tell me what's natural about having to wear a wig and tons of eye makeup to try and get people to treat you like a woman.
People wear wigs and makeup all the time. Like, I could say what's natural about wearing clothes. That's not natural. Like, not in the sense that we separate humanity from nature. Lots of stuff we do is unnatural. It's like, by natural, what this person means is, it just kind of happens. Like, some people are just kind of trans, and that's fine. And there's nothing wrong with it, and they're not hurting anybody. Like, that's what this person is trying to communicate by the word natural, okay? And also, like, you know, there are trans lions and shit, so that's pretty cool.
The Trump administration and transphobes would love to have you believe that being trans is unnatural, but species that can transition sexes can be found on every continent and in every ocean on planet Earth.
That had to be the most disingenuous analogy that I've ever heard. Show me a human male that's become female spontaneously without spending like $100,000 in the operating room. Well,
so it depends on what you mean by like male and female, right? Like, if you're born with like XY chromosomes and like a dick and balls, you can like be washed with estrogen during puberty and then grow tits, you know? Like, that happens to a lot of boys. That's why gynecomastia exists, right? Like, it's not as cut and dry as people tend to think it is. The problem with the way that people think about male and female is that like they leave no room for like in between spaces. Because being male or female is not just a matter of like your primary genitalia. It's not. Like, there's plenty of other factors to that. There's hormones, there's secondary sexual characteristics, and in fact, you know, one day like we might be able to even implant uteruses into people, you know, like into like trans women. I don't really care if it's natural. Like, let's just put it this way, like if you have somebody who has a uterus and is able to give birth, like, would you call that person female? Because I would. Like, just by default, yeah, I would. So like if we can transplant a uterus into a trans woman and she gives birth, I would categorize that person as a female, for sure.
Even the surgeries don't change their biology. And just because certain animals
It literally does. Surgery literally changes your biology. What are you talking about? Like, every surgery changes your like, if it's not immediately like noticeable, it wouldn't be phenotype necessarily. It would just be things inside of your body or having to do with your body. That's the purpose of surgery, is to change your biology. That's like coronary bypass, gastric bypass, knee replacements, and genital surgery. You know, like, it all changes your biology, literally.
Do things doesn't mean that humans can do those things. Some animals aren't sexually dimorphic, and the females are just as strong as the males. That's not humans, though.
Also, none of this matters. Like, I don't... Like, this conversation to me is so boring and played out. It's not a matter of it being natural, okay? I know that that was the claim that this person in the original video made, but what that person was trying to communicate is that there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. That's what they mean by natural in this sense, okay? Not the best word to use, I would agree with that, but that's what they mean.
There are a lot of differences between the sexes. I mean, I don't think I've seen an analogy this bad since the croissant analogy.
If trans women
Croissant
aren't
analogy?
women, then is this big croissant not a croissant? Of course it's a croissant. It's made out of butter and dough just like any other croissant.
Right, a big croissant and a small croissant are still both croissants. Except that's not what's happening here. You're not a big croissant saying that you're a small one, you're a taco saying, I identify as a pastry.
So before I demolish this delicious and very valid pastry, repeat after me. Big croissant.
Okay, if you're out in public and you see a trans woman and this person is like, you know, like this person, you know, wearing makeup, wearing girls' clothes, has long hair, higher pitched voice, you know, like I'm going to assume that this person is a woman. If I see a piece of food in front of me that is a hard shell with meat and cheese on it, I'm going to assume that that is a taco just off the bat. You know, like, oh, that's not technically a taco. I get if it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, I'm going to call it a duck. That's my point.
Don't affect me in the slightest.
Yeah.
And another point is like she's trying to get across like the variance thing. I agree it's not the best analogy. I think she could have done a better one. But like, again, it just doesn't matter.
Croissants don't affect me in the slightest.
Yeah,
That's true.
That's not the case. In fact, that's exactly everyone's problem and why people have so much energy against trans activism. We were all just out here minding our own business, and then a bunch of activists started inserting themselves
Tyler.
into everything and saying, you have to treat us how we demand you treat us, or you lose your job. This sort of extortion...
With basic respect, yeah. You have to treat people with basic respect, yes. I'm fine with you losing your job if you do not treat trans people with basic respect.
Extortionist behavior is why people
That's a
are
good
mad
society.
at the LGBT crowd.
I'm actually non-binary and use they them pronouns.
Look at all those plushies.
I definitely could see that. In the best way possible, you look like you'd be non-binary.
Look at all these plushies I could make. I could crochet all of these. Maybe. I won't, but I could.
Slay, they. You realize that isn't a compliment, right?
I guarantee you that
Wait,
when
what?
people...
Use they them pronouns. I definitely could see that. In the best way possible, you look like you'd be non-binary. Slay, they.
I mean, listen. Listen. I'm not one to stereotype or, like, you know, say that, like, just because you look a certain way means you have to present a certain way. I also would never say that to somebody, just so you know. Like, I wouldn't, like, unprompted say that, like, oh, yeah, you totally look like you would be a non-binary. Unless I was, like, close with the person. I was joking around with them, I guess. Let's be honest. There are some looks that I see, like, and I assume that that person is non-binary, and a lot of the time I am correct.
Hey, you realize that
But yes, I'm sorry, like, I would definitely clock this person as non-binary if I were in public, and if that offends people, sorry, that's just how it is.
isn't a compliment, right?
I guarantee you that when people say that...
Let's put it this way, I would definitely ask for this person's pronouns.
Slay, they. You realize that isn't a compliment, right?
I guarantee you that when people say that, 99% of the time it's not meant to be a compliment. And that's because as soon as
Slay
you see the
they?
wacky hair color and the nose ring, oh wait, this person actually doesn't have a nose ring. Shocking. But when regular people see the wacky outfits, they know they're about to deal with a very difficult or annoying person. Or a narcissist. I mean, there are just so many examples of people with narcissistic personality.
Unlike you, somebody who's not annoying at all, or a bad person. Unlike you. Yeah, you know what, like, really, you know what a red flag for me is, personally? Being, like, an old white guy. Old white guys are, like, the worst, okay? And trust me, I've met plenty of them in my life. They are the worst. It is like I would rather, like, if you put an old white guy in front of me, or this person, and I didn't know who this person was, I still don't know who this person is. So, like, let's just go with this person, right? Like, old white guy versus this person, I'm going with this person. Like, this person is probably way better than whatever old white guy they drop in front of me.
So many examples of people with narcissistic personality disorder being gassed up by every major corporation for identifying as LGBT. And everyone hates stuff like this.
Source? List some. Narcissistic person. So you're telling me that those people were diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder, or that you're diagnosing them with it, which is crazy because you've never met them. And in order to diagnose somebody with something, you need to actually meet them and have an appointment. I don't believe you. You can call them narcissists if you want. First of all, it's not true. They're not. But even if we were to go with that, you're literally saying they're diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder. That's so stupid.
Say, women want to be her, men want to be with her. Dylan Mulvaney. The true definition of beauty and grace.
She was never my type.
Bro, Dylan Mulvaney doesn't even want to be Dylan Mulvaney. So this is
According to who? What? Source? Do you have any evidence to back that up? Every time I see her, if she said that, then he's correct, I guess, but I've never seen her say that or voice that or anything like that. There are certainly a lot of trans people who look in the mirror and say, God, I don't want to be myself, sure. But that's usually fixable with HRT, dressing a different way, maybe putting on makeup or taking off the makeup if you're a trans man, right? Like, or growing a beard. Like, if you don't want to be yourself, you can change yourself. And you should encourage that person to change themselves if they don't want to be the current person that they are. I don't know where I'm going with this. I don't think Dylan Mulvaney has ever said that she does not want to be herself. Have you heard of the shotgun technique? I have not.
This is exactly what I'm talking about.
Makeup is stellar? I disagree. Makeup sucks. I've done makeup exactly once in my life, and I hated it. I can't say that I hated it. I hated the process of putting it on, and then all of the things that I have to do to make sure that it stays fine on my face. Because right now, if I got an itch, I can just scratch it, you know? I got makeup on my cheeks. I got like rosy makeup on my cheeks or something. I scratch that shit. It's getting all caked up in my fingernails. I hate that. I hate it so much.
Now, I'm sure there are plenty of trans people out there who just want to mind their own business and go on with their lives. In fact, the right to be able to mind their own business was originally what the LGBT movement was pushing for. And I think that's an
literally
idea
still what
that
they're
most
pushing for.
Americans these days would have no problem supporting. However, the activists, not the normie LGBT people, I'm specifically talking about the activist part of this community, constantly display the most self-centered and entitled behavior. And it's not transphobic or bigoted to point out when someone's being a self-absorbed asshole. Let's go back to that image. Women want to be her. Yeah, except for all the women who were pissed off at Dylan's woman face behavior. In fact,
it was mostly men. No, you're lying, man. It was like largely men who were pissed. Largely men who were like talking about how Dylan was, faking being a woman or whatever. Like, remember the Bud Light shit? Like, it was overwhelmingly men. And if you look at the statistics, it is overwhelmingly cis men, cishet men who are transphobic. Women are more accepting of trans women than men are. Okay? Cis women are more accepting of trans women than cis men are, I should say. Okay? So that's just a fact.
People
so
were
lying.
so mad at Dylan that Anheuser...
Also, I want to point out, that was a very subtle way of like putting in like, oh, actually, I'm the one who's the more progressive because I'm looking out for women. When he's literally never given a shit about women in his entire life. This whole... one thing that like pushes my buttons worse than like many other things is virtue signaling. Saying that like you care about women because you want to be transphobic. You don't care about women, dude. You just want to hate trans people. Specifically trans women, apparently. Because the existence of trans men makes their heads explode.
Anheuser Busch almost had to give up the Bud Light brand. Men want to be with her.
Wait.
All the women who were pissed off at Dylan's woman face behavior. In fact, people were so mad at Dylan that Anheuser Busch almost had to give up the...
How can you say in one sentence that it was women who were pissed off, and then in the next it's Bud Light, there's a Bud Light controversy? I guarantee you that more men drink Bud Light than women do. I don't have the statistics on that. I don't have the data, but if I had to guess, it's absolutely men who are buying Bud Light far more often than women are.
Bud Light brand. Men want to be with her. No, they don't. Straight men don't. The second they find out you're trans, you're...
Plenty of straight men love trans women. Okay, they fetishize them. Well, I have two maps. This one is lesbian all the way across here. Stepmom, stepsister, cartoon, MILF, ebony. Oh my god. The word ebony... Wait, ebony... Black? Wait, I thought ebony was black. I thought ebony was just like the porn word for being black. Is that not the case? Why did I think trans porn was on here? Yeah, I was wrong about that. Okay. I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong. But trust me, there are plenty of men. Just ask trans women. They get harassed by men all the time who want to them.
You're gonna get ghosted.
And that's not a good thing, by the way.
This video is for straight men and straight men only. I'm sorry.
Oh, she's gorgeous. Holy shit.
How in the world could you not like me? Yes, I'm a trans woman. I'm a doll. Like, what is so different about dating me than a cis woman? I can do everything that she can.
Except have children. Did you notice
that
the
is
narcissistic, true. I'm so great behavior? That's why people don't like you.
Yeah, so that's why, like, you don't say, I wouldn't date a trans woman. You would say, I want to date a woman who can have children. It's fine.
The guy I was on a date with just found out that I was trans. Why is he just finding out on the date? Why wasn't this disclosed?
Did Leafy transition? Every time I see somebody with like dark brown eyes and like this kind of swoop over the forehead, I'm like, Is that Leafy?
dating app. I mean, they were definitely using a dating app where photos can be edited and the voice chat wasn't used. Why is it so hard to date straight men when you're just a normal trans girl who makes content for the internet? Well, there you go. Stop catfishing people and maybe you'll find someone who actually likes you. I mean, it's crazy how many trans people think it's perfectly fine to start a relationship out by lying by omission.
What do you even
It's not lying by omission. Is it lying by omission if you have a micro penis and you don't disclose that? What is a trans woman lying about? What's she lying about? I mean, I'd love to know. And also, like, there's this myth that, like, trans people are trying to trick cis people into, like, dating them and them, when that's simply not the case. The overwhelming majority of trans people will disclose that they are trans at some point prior to sexual activity. You know, like, they know better. Because, like, the unfortunate truth is it's unsafe not to, because there are freaks out there who will kill you. That has happened and will happen again. And frankly, it seems as though the United States has accepted that it is fine and cool and whatever to kill trans people who do not disclose that they are trans prior to engaging in sexual activity. And also, like, let's say that, like, you have a trans woman who's post-op bottom surgery, right? She could never disclose to you that she's trans, and there would be no difference. If you want kids, and then she's like, I'm infertile, I can't have kids, you know? She's not wrong, she's not lying. She's being completely honest. She told you I can't have kids. I'm sure at some point during your relationship, the fact that you are trans will probably come up. If you love that person and you want to have a lifelong relationship with them, sure, but they could technically go their whole life without telling you, and you wouldn't know the difference. But, like, my thing is, like, I'm fine with genital preference. I'm fine with wanting to date somebody who can bear offspring. I get it. Because I want my own kids. You know, I get it. But, like, if you don't want kids and the person is post-op, what's the difference? Like, I've had people tell me, like, no, you still have to tell them. You still have to tell them. No, you don't get it. You don't get it. They were a man once. It's disgusting. Blah. And then they, like, do the Brian Griffin thing, where when he finds out that, like, he Quagmire's trans mom, he threw up all over the floor. And it's like, why? Like, it makes no difference. You had a wonderful night with a beautiful woman that you apparently found beautiful. What's the difference? It's insecurity about their masculinity. That's certainly part of it. And also just, like, general misogyny, I think. It's both. It definitely insecurity about their masculinity. Yeah, that's true.
even really disclosing? What is there to disclose? There's no deception. When you're dating someone, you don't have to disclose every single thing about yourself up front. That's the fun of it. You get to learn about someone new.
Considering
That's
that
true.
the status of your sexuality is a big deal for a relationship, that definitely should be disclosed.
Here we go. Oh no, you're being homophobic. You hate the gays. Oh no, this is harming the gay community, because if you're a gay woman, if you're a lesbian, and you want to date another lesbian, and then the trans woman has a dick and balls, oh no, you don't give a shit about gay people. You never have. Shut the f up.
Before you even go on a date. Though in this case,
If you care
I
about
actually
gay
wouldn't
people,
worry
ask
because I
them
don't
what
think
their
anyone's
problems
being
are.
Fooled by you.
He shows off his results of facial feminization surgery. What is your reaction? Again, just reading the tweets. Don't get mad at me. Let's take a look at this. Bro, I'm going to keep it a bug. You got to go back and ask for a refund. Like, this was not a complete job. This is just incomplete homework.
Though to be honest, some trans people are more feminine.
I mean, I didn't personally see the difference, but wait, hold on.
Bro, I'm going to keep it a bug.
No, wait, I see the difference. No, there's not as much angulature. I see the difference. The bottom line is, if this person is happy with it, then that's fine.
You got to go back and ask for a refund. Like, this was not a complete job. This is just incomplete homework.
Though to be honest, some trans people are more feminine than others.
Thank you, Miss
And
Chiff.
it's harder for normies to tell. So in the case where someone is intentionally tricked and any form of sexual contact happens that they would otherwise not consent to, I think that should be considered
But this,
sexual
again,
assault.
this idea that trans people are tricking other people into getting into bed with them and then, like, them, which is what you're implying. You're implying that trans people are just, specifically trans women, okay? You are implying that trans women are, and that's not what's happening. It is not to not disclose what you're packing before you get in bed, okay? If the person sees something that they don't like and then they revoke consent, that is the point at which you stop, all right? It happens. It happens to trans people. It happens to fat people. It happens to people with too much hair. It happens to people with moles. It happens to all kinds of people. People with micro penises, like you, okay? It happens to all kinds of people. So, you know, that doesn't make it... Yeah, see, he's literally calling it sexual assault. Fuck you, man. Fuck you.
assault. These people are all about consent, right? Well, you can't consent if you don't understand
These people aren't about consent. Unlike me, I don't give a shit about it.
the terms of the deal. And if you're trying to...
These people won't shut up about consent. They think consent is so important. Oh, consent this, consent that. Well, what if I want to somebody, right, man?
trick someone into consenting to something they otherwise would not consent to if they had full knowledge of the terms, then that is very much the mentality of a racist. You aren't fooling anyone. Everyone knows that you aren't disclosing this information right away for a reason. And really, the best way to continue
you aren't fooling it. You aren't fooling anybody except the people that you fooled to get in bed, apparently.
Power away from these people so they
we hold both of these positions in our minds simultaneously as transphobes, right? Here it is. We say trans women are ugly, disgusting, they have deep voices, they're not pretty, like they're horrific human beings. But they also trick people. They're demons. They trick people and to get them into bed with them. It's like, which is it? Which is it? Oh, they're so like sexy and desirable that all of these men are getting into bed with them and being raped by them, apparently. I guess. Like, is that how it works? This guy does not think before he sleeps. I don't know if he thinks at all. No.
can't threaten us anymore is to just start calling stuff what it is.
Threaten us.
All the bullying that trans activists have been
Trans
doing
people are threatening
can completely
him.
be defeated if we just stick to reality. Which brings us to a trans TikTok influencer who goes by Lily Tino. Well, this person has already been brought up, but now I have a bigger point to make.
I never needed to know that Lily Tino exists. She seems kind of annoying, honestly. But I agree with her on a lot of stuff from what I've seen of her so far.
If you haven't seen any of the content,
I only know
this
she
type
exists
of stuff is
because
what
of
Tino is
conservatives.
famous for.
The bottom is from Thailand.
Coconut bread from Thailand.
Yes, sir.
Cool.
Oh, wait,
man.
no, it's this chick. It's this chick. Wait. I do know this one. I was thinking of the other one. Or a different one. I do know her. No, she is kind of an asshole. She literally will go into restaurants and like basically harass. Like she'll start the recording and then like, you know, act like everybody's misgendering her. It's like for content. It is pretty shitty.
My bad.
But this is one person.
The middle one is from India.
Thank you. It just like totally sucks the joy out of this bread tower. Makes me want to immediately like leave. Because I no longer feel like safe here. It's like, oh, my guard now has to be up. I'm not going to enjoy this bread as much because my guard is up. We should be able to go places and not have to worry. I don't think I really want.
But like, why? Okay, like if this is legit, then why did you start recording? Like you literally started recording prior to the conversation because you had set this up in such a way that you either knew you would be transgender or misgendered or like you spurred it on somehow. This is an outlier, okay? Most trans people are normal. If you misgender them, they'll just correct you and you move on. I've misgendered cis people before. It happens. It's happened like once or twice that I can remember. Alec says someone would be transgendered. Yes, I will transgender you.
I want this bread tower, actually. I think I'd rather have the check.
Did anyone catch what went wrong here? I actually had to watch this multiple times, so let's do a quick repeat.
Okay.
Coconut bread from Thailand.
Yes, sir.
Cool.
Yes,
Ma'am.
My bad.
So Tino is mad
Oh, I think the waiter was saying, yes, sir. Yeah, she's shitty.
because the waiter said sir. Well, it's kind of hard to call you a man when
She
you look
is
like
a
sir.
psyop.
And Tino knows that people will make this mistake, which is why tons of misgendering videos are on Tino's channel.
I just want to tell you that the person who gave me this called me sir.
Oh,
Called me
God.
sir.
Literally, if you misgender somebody by accident the first time, you have done nothing wrong, and it might make a trans woman feel like shit that she was misgendered. It sucks, but it happens, you know? Like, I've personally never been misgendered. I got a big old beard and a bald-ass head, so, like, people don't tend to misgender me, but, you know, like, if somebody somehow thought that I was, like, looked like a woman and called me one, I would just say I'm a dude. Like... But at the same time, I understand that, like, trans people, it's different. Because with trans women, it is not affirming to be misgendered, right? Like, it is in a transphobic world where you are dealing with transphobia all the time. Somebody accidentally misgendering you can ruin your day, okay? I get it. But the person misgendering you didn't really do anything wrong unless they did it on purpose to purposefully make you feel bad. All you have to do is correct the person and move on. And if you feel a little shitty, I'm sorry. That's kind of just life. I'm sorry. At that point, it is kind of just life. You gotta suck it up and move on.
It's just like, it kind of just hurts a lot to get called sir. Thank you. I'm not sir.
Good dog.
Nothing like a good get called
Wait,
sir.
What was that one?
Thank you. I'm not sir. Nothing.
Yeah, I mean, again, if it was the first time, you just say, oh, it's ma'am.
Thank you. I'm not sir. Nothing like a good misgendering. It is a knife in the gut when I get called sir. It hurts more though, and it's not intentional because it means like This
Also, is this like all she does? Is this the content? Like she just goes place. Also, where is she going? How much money does this person have? Like, where is she going to all these restaurants and shit? Like, why do people, this is literally just rage bait. It's rage bait for the conservatives. She's throwing out rage bait for them and they're feasting. Like, you need to stop this expeditiously.
sir to him.
Yeah, it's such a knife to the gut that you keep intentionally putting yourself in these situations.
He's not wrong
and film
here.
them happening over and over again. Even with the
He is
feigned
correct on
politeness,
this. The worst person
everyone
you know
knows
just
that
made a
you're
great
doing this
point.
on purpose. And not just that, but Tino has openly talked about not actually...
But I will say, by including her in this video, you are being disingenuous by saying that all trans people are doing this. No, they're not.
caring about being called sir.
Look, I don't need your approval to love my face. But honestly,
You know what's funny? I thought for a second, wait, is this image AI generated? I used to make fun of this guy for these like Windows backgrounds, you know? Like, I used to make fun of him for it. But now there's like AI generated shit. And now I'm like, you know what? What a breath of fresh fucking air that this guy uses actual imagery rather than like pumping it into a machine and telling it what he wants. I'm pretty sure that this is not AI generated, right? Not that I would put it past him to use AI generation, but I don't think that he does. So you know what? Good on him.
About
He
being
gets
called
1
sir.
point.
look, I don't need your approval to love my face. But honestly, keep these comments coming because they really don't bother me in the way that you think they bother me, and they boost engagement on my stuff. So keep...
Is this the same person? Oh, it is.
A bunch of people saying sir in the comments is what's being...
Wait, yeah, you can't do both. You can't make all of your content going to restaurants and then getting upset that people are misgendering you and then say, well, it doesn't bother me. You can't do that. Like, it's one or the other. Are you like a snowflake or are you like this rough and tough trans, like proud and out trans woman who don't give a shit what nobody thinks about her? You got to pick a lane.
responded to. So now
Yeah,
we
he
know
picked
that
someone
Tino
easy,
bullying
exactly.
people is completely about getting attention.
I want to make sure the overlaying message of this video is that think before you sleep sucks ass, and the fact that she is using this person as a representation of all trans people is incredibly disingenuous and dishonest.
But let's go back to that bread video for a second.
We're supposed to say friend or just not use gendered language. It's like a pretty big thing that
Also, this bow is cringe. Sorry.
Disney has done. Nothing was wrong with bread. I just don't want it anymore. Just because they apologize doesn't mean she doesn't feel sad or offended. Yeah. Exactly, right? Like, if you've accidentally ever hurt someone and say, I'm so sorry, it was an accident, do you expect them to be like, oh?
As a cis male, I've been misgendered over the phone due to my voice, and I have sincerely never given a shit. Right, like you wouldn't because you don't typically get misgendered. You know, well, I take that back. A lot of men would, actually. Now that I think about it, no, I take it back. A lot of men would. Is it different? Hold on, now I have to think about it. No, if somebody misgenders you and you feel some type of way about it, that is literally the same as like, that is gender dysphoria. It's the same thing. Because like you're experiencing a drop in confidence from somebody calling you a gender that you are not, you know? So it is kind of the same thing, but this is why I'm against toxic masculine behaviors and teaching young men, you know, toxic masculine things like, what am I trying to say? Sorry, I'm so lightheaded today from cleaning all day and not getting enough sleep. I like the bow. Well, we all have our taste. What I'm trying to say is, it's worse for trans people because, especially trans women, because trans women probably get it the worst. So like maybe you don't give a shit. I personally wouldn't give a shit, but like a lot of trans women would because they deal with it all the time. Like, wouldn't it get annoying if like people constantly are calling you a woman and like expecting you to be a woman and then harassing you for not being a woman and saying that like you need to dress like a woman and act like a woman and go use the women's restroom and get married to a man, and like that would bother me personally. And that's what happens to trans people all the time, over and over. Like, they are women who are treated and expected to be men, or men who are treated like and expected to be women, or non-binary or whatever. And it sucks.
It was an accident. Of course. No problem whatsoever. All of that hurt is now undone. That's not how it works.
Sorry about what happened.
It's okay. I would love to pay for the drink, please.
No, the drink is on me too, so...
You don't have... Are you sure?
You're good, yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Now you can see why Tino
I get it.
does
Move on.
this. Any narcissist would treat waiters like that if they got free food and special treatment from it. You do understand they had to throw all that food out, right? However, I don't know if you guys caught this, but the waiter had an accent, meaning that English is not his first language, so he probably is not all that privy to the pronoun BS because it's esoteric speech. I mean, if there's any indication that he doesn't understand what's going on...
Wait, pronoun BS is esoteric speech? Okay, just on the face of it, right? I don't agree with what she's doing, but... on the face of it, she is simply asking to be called ma'am instead of sir. That's not esoteric speech. That's That's subbing out one gendered term for another. Ma'am instead of sir. It's not that hard.
It's
certainly
that
not
he
esoteric.
immediately says sir again after being told to say ma'am.
Is
And the
this
whole
Carl
subtext
Jobs?
of
I don't
this
know who
is that
that
this
is.
guy spends all this time learning English, and then Tino is out here threatening his livelihood over a minor mistake. That's why you got the free drink. It's because he's afraid of a sociopath like you causing a scene and getting him fired.
Can we move
Especially
on?
considering that this occurred at Disneyland.
I get it. We don't
so you
like
know
her.
that if
Let's
the
move
waiter
on.
stands up for himself, the company is not going to back him. So really this person is just making money off of bullying foreigners and using transgenderism as a shield after being abusive. Because that's what this is. It's abuse. And abuse seems to be kind of a foundational strategy of trans activists. Tino has a lot of this type of content, as well as stuff that progressively gets creepier.
Made it into Disney World. I don't really know what the deal is with bathrooms. Florida is really conservative. I don't know what the rules are. Trans women are allowed to be in women's bathrooms, but I'm about to go and use the bathroom because I have to tinkle. If I get stopped, I get stopped, I guess, but I'm a woman, so I'm going to use the women's bathroom, and being in Florida or being in California or wherever isn't going to stop me.
But like normal trans women just use the bathroom. Like they don't make a video about it. Okay. She's like, again, we're cherry picking here. Is this whole video about her? Like we had a couple at the beginning that weren't her, but like trans women are not going around making videos of them like saying that they need to piss and that they're definitely going to use the women's restroom. That's not real. All most trans women want to do is use the restroom.
For one,
And
it's
goddamn
already
peace.
cringe to be a Disney adult. Two, not only is there this fetishizing with trans people of lying about their status in the hopes of tricking straight men, but there's also a fetishizing of using...
Dude, which is it? Are they tricking straight men or are they like disgusting, vile creatures that are ugly and we can spot them from a mile away? Like, I don't understand. Transphobes always flip-flop. They're both like trans women are both simultaneously like beautiful sirens who are tricking you, duping you into being or they're ugly and disgusting and nobody wants to f them. Which is it? I'm so curious.
In women's bathrooms. Here's a whole office of biological males filming in the women's bathroom. And I can't imagine how unnerving it must be for
They all
women
look
to
like
have
women.
to share this space with people who are obviously biological men.
I have seen plenty of cis women who look like every woman in this room.
Oh, I go where I please.
Good.
I will continue to go into women's restrooms,
Good.
women's locker rooms, women's spaces, because I am a woman, whether you like it or not.
True.
And there's nothing you can do about it. I go where I please.
They also always noticeably use trans women who are like larger or not as traditionally beautiful, to make their point. When like I've seen 1.5 million cis women who look exactly like this. They look exactly like this. And nobody questions them being in the women's restroom except for freaks like you. So I'm just throwing that out there.
And so far, nobody's had the guts to even try and stop me.
No one has tried to stop you because it's a bunch of...
To his credit, he did use one very lovely trans woman earlier, who I assume is trans. Actually, a couple. He's got a couple that I am personally that are my I shouldn't say me personally. I should say they're traditionally attractive. People would find these two girls traditionally attractive.
Of women who have like half your strength, and they don't want to risk you being a psycho who will violently beat them if they speak up about you using the women's bathroom.
Wait, that's literally the opposite. The opposite happens. Oh, they love this clip. This clip is like old as sin. They love this one.
Give me my fucking money back.
Excuse me, sir. There's a young man in here. And you
I told her, excuse me, it's ma'am. It is ma'am.
They aren't protesting because they're afraid, and what really should happen is that people should just stop going to places with mixed bathrooms. Oh, and speaking of borderline
Your
predator
house
behavior,
has a mixed bathroom,
Tina
brother.
loves to go to
What?
Disneyland to explain how transgender surgery works with kids
Are
in the
we still on
background and
Tina?
child-friendly metaphors.
Last summer, I got my cake tops removed, and the plan up until recently was to get my
I'm skipping through.
marshmallow
I'm
one.
sorry, skipping through the Tina shit. I get it. Tina's a bad person. We don't like her. Who's this?
Kids.
Hi, friends.
What topics?
Today we're going
Is
to
this
talk
still
about
Tina?
something super important. What it means to be
At least this is
transgender.
different.
It's a big word, but I promise that it's easy to understand. Ready
This
to
isn't
learn?
still Tina,
The first
right?
thing I want you to do is close your eyes.
Her hair's like
Now
completely
think,
different.
do you feel like a boy, a girl, or a little bit of both?
For those of you who don't know what's going on, this is a parody of Miss Rachel, who is a very popular creator for very young kids. A friend of mine has a 2-year-old, and I caught an episode while he was visiting where she was teaching
Oh.
toddlers how to say no, so that was great. Well, maybe it's annoying to parents, but probably very useful if they ever meet someone like Lily Tino. And I'm not just making allegations here. Tino literally has an OnlyFans account and advertises that account in the same area where the videos targeted at children can be viewed. How is this not a crime? Can you see why people are mad now?
What's
Stuff
a crime?
like this
Wait,
happens
what?
over and over again, and
What's
this
a crime about
information
it?
gets
Hold
pushed
on.
on younger and younger people. Tino literally has an OnlyFans account and advertises that account in the same area where the videos targeted at children can be viewed.
Well, hold on. The OnlyFans, like, it will link you to OnlyFans, which will then ask if you're 18. I agree. Personally, I think it's a little bit weird if you do, like, educational children's content in the same medium and in the same way that you do sexual content. I personally think it's a little bit weird. I don't think it's wrong. I just think it's an interesting mix to have. I don't know. Like, to me, it's like, okay, but, like, that kid's going to see your content and then grow up and see that you have an OnlyFans or see that you have an OnlyFans as a kid. I don't know. I'm a little bit mixed on that. Like, I'm not saying she shouldn't do it, but I just think it's a little bit weird.
How is this not a crime? Can you see why people are mad now? Stuff like
I
this
don't think it should be
happens
a
over
crime.
and over again, and this information gets pushed on younger and younger people way before it's age appropriate, and now they have stuff like this.
But again, like, the problem here is not that she's teaching children about trans people and their existence. Trans people are not a fetish, man. They're not a sexual category. They're just people. Like, kids are allowed to... In fact, I wouldn't even say kids are allowed to know trans people exist. They ought to know. Because why wouldn't they? Like, saying that children should not know that trans people exist, or, like, that it's possible to be trans. Like, you just hate trans people. You just want trans people to go away. You are the one fetishizing trans people at that point. You understand that, right? I up the arm a little bit on Legoshi, so I gotta fix it.
Applications are open for Brave Trails 2025. Whether you're new or returning, get ready for an unforgettable summer in California, New York, or Georgia. Brave Trails is the summer camp for LGBTQ+ youth ages 12 to 17, with creative programming, gender-neutral housing, and affirming spaces to be your true self.
Wait, so you're gonna put a bunch of boys and girls with cameras in mixed housing? They're going to change and sleep in the same area with an age difference from 12 to 17? You don't see a problem with that?
No. If you can sleep in the same room as a boy, then you can sleep in the same room as a girl. And there's zero problem with that.
Fortunately, I don't think they do. And what's funny is that I'm old enough to remember that back in 2020, I made a video about them medically...
What is the problem? Wait, you didn't even say the problem. What's the problem? You just assume that there is one, right? Like, we just assume that there's a problem. Oh, you are meant to understand inherently that there's a problem here. Why? Well, I don't know. Just like it is, right? Like, that's not how this works. You have to explain the problem. Yeah, you can always tell, and also you have to tell us exactly. How do they do it at Christian church camps? They separate the boys and the girls. Which, funny enough, you know, like, if you're a gay kid at a Christian camp and, like, you know, you're in a room with all the people that you personally find attractive and sleeping there, like, it's the same problem, right? I just never understood this personally, because it's like, okay, we have separate boys and girls dorms because we don't want them to all have, you know, do inappropriate things with each other. It's like, kids of the same gender can also do inappropriate things with each other. So I don't understand this point.
Transitioning kids, and I got gaslit like crazy with...
And on top of that, why are we, like, thinking about children doing inappropriate things with each other in the first place? Why bring that up? A little weird, right? Well, I mean, to me, that strikes me as a little bit pedophilic, if you want to be honest. I'm not calling you a pedophile. I'm just saying that, like, that thought process is you sexualizing children. Literally. That is what you're doing. You are currently in the process of sexualizing children. Good job.
With a bunch of wokies in the comments saying, no, they're just socially transitioning kids. They don't get medical treatment until they're adults. At that point...
Nobody ever said that. Nobody ever said that. Children can get medical transition treatment. I don't know the earliest it's been, but, like, they get the same treatment. Like, okay, I think between the ages of, like, 10 and 12 is when you typically as a trans child would get puberty blockers, right? We give puberty blockers to children as young as, like, 4 or 5 for precocious puberty. What's the difference, man? That's the main medical treatment before the age of 16 is puberty blockers. And on top of that, like 10 to 12-year-olds who are cis or who are trans and have abusive parents go through natural puberty, which is the same thing as HRT. It's just that your body's doing it, it's not an external force. It's exactly the same thing, though. So what's the deal? I don't understand. What's the problem?
There were only a handful of news stories about people medically transitioning under 18. But just 5 years later, medically transitioning kids has been completely normalized.
Also, we give surgery to young cis boys with gynecomastia all the time. All the time. Like as young as 14, you're a cis boy, got breasts, chop them off. Like that, we do that all the time. And nobody has a problem with that. Nobody. Totally fine. But suddenly you say you're a trans boy. It's exactly the same thing. If you are a trans boy and you are growing tits, it's exactly the same as having gynecomastia. It's the same physiological process that forms that. But it's fine for cis boys to get that surgery, but it's not fine for trans boys to get it. And that's why we say that there is unequalness, or what's the word? Unequalness, I guess, in medicine when it comes between cis and trans people. That sucks.
Estrogen treatment is irreversible and would make Josie sterile. But Josie and her mother never doubted it was the right thing until an unexpected conversation happened one afternoon.
But on the inside, where nobody else can see,
Yeah.
are you a boy or are you a girl?
Maybe I'm a boy inside and a girl outside.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah, is that true?
Only you know the answer to that.
That is true.
Sometimes I think I'm a boy, sort of, but I'm gonna be a girl.
Yeah.
Dr. Olson had a decision.
Okay.
You are in the perfect...
I don't understand. I got nothing from that. What I got from that is that this young person wants to be a girl and so should go through gender affirming care. That's what I got it sounds like socially this young trans girl learned that she is technically quote unquote supposed to be a boy because of what she was born with, right? But that she internally feels like and wants to be a girl. That's what I got from that.
Place to start on blockers.
And she promises to begin giving her estrogen, female hormones, in 2 years.
Around 13. That's what I think. You're not going to wait and...
That's literally later than most girls get it. Like naturally. Like the overwhelming majority of girls will have already gone through natural puberty before the age of 13. Or at least started, I should say. Not completed, just started. And that's a hormone flush. That is a hormone flush of estrogen. So I think personally, if a team of medical professionals decides at 13 that a child ought to go through, they've done all the, they've run all the numbers, all the data, whatever, and they're she's good. We can go ahead and proceed with HRT and have her go through female puberty. I think that's totally fine. I don't see the problem with that.
Until 16
I'm not in the room with that.
You know that, okay?
A lot of times it strikes me that had this happened just 20 years ago,
Thank you.
I wouldn't have been able to give her blockers and she would have had to go through male puberty.
Yeah.
That terrifies me. It's all done. Do you want a hug? I don't know that she would have survived male puberty.
I'm not really sure how these people have it in their head that it's okay.
At no point in that video did I get the impression that there was a mistake made by transitioning this child medically. At no point did I get that impression. Why is it a problem? What's the problem? She's happy, mom's happy, doctor's happy. They all agreed, they all consented, but you don't. You know better. You know better. Why? Oh, because you said so? Got it. All of the research and data shows that trans care, both for minors and for adults, gender affirming care, is good and helpful and they don't regret it. All of it. So where's your data? Where's your stuff that says it's bad? Oh, because you said so. Because you think it's icky, right? F you. I don't care what you think. Your opinion's invalid. You're a bug to me. You're like a cockroach. All right? Shut up. Go away. Nobody likes you.
Okay to allow a young child to make a permanent decision like that. Especially
like puberty, right? Like natural puberty. Maybe all kids should be on puberty blockers, right? That way that they don't, get forcibly pubertized or whatever. they don't forcibly go through puberty just by sheer force of nature. Now, once you start HRT, that is considered more permanent than you could say that not every aspect of it is permanent, but especially for testosterone, once your voice deepens, that shit kind of sticks. What we mean by permanent is without extensive measures can we reverse it, right? We must reverse it using extensive measures such as invasive surgical procedure or, intense training, like voice training. Permanency is on a sliding scale, but when it comes to what we mean by that. But yeah, HRT in many aspects of it are permanent. Puberty blockers are not. Puberty blockers are reversible.
Considering that the child expressed pretty heavy doubt, and maybe that's the best
heavy
cue
doubt?
to not put your kid on life-altering medications.
No, that was not heavy doubt. Again, what I got from that is This trans girl has been taught by society that she was technically supposed to be a boy. And so sometimes she's like, I don't know, like, am I actually a girl? But then like, she's like, oh, I want to be a girl. Where's the doubt in that? She literally said, I want to be a girl. She said that. Let her be a girl, you freak. Why do you care? Shut up. Go away.
When they turn 13.
Seems more like we're experimenting on children like the Nazis did.
It's not your business.
It does seem a little suspect.
Oh,
I mean,
we're like the Nazis,
the
guys.
Nazi scientists.
Here it is again. Like I told you, we're the Nazis. We're the bad guys, right? They always do this shit. It's projection, okay? Guess who the Nazis, like one of the first things the Nazis did, the first books they burned. Look it up. Those who know. Look it up. First books they burned.
Came forward and said, but the kids really want it.
The one thing that keeps me happy is
Darvo.
that we're moving closer to a place where eventually people who do this are going to start getting punished for it, especially since Twitter got bought and stories like these aren't being suppressed anymore.
I had facial feminization surgery. I had sex reassignment surgery. I was on HRT for 17 years. Now I'm on a combo dose because I can't go off. I have multiple health conditions from transitioning young and for transitioning
Who
for
is
so
this?
long.
This person has to take
Undivided with Brandy Cruz. Who is this person? Anybody know?
17 years ago at an LGBT center. I'm a CSA survivor. Doctors told me that what was
Riley Gaines event? Off. Nope. Grifter.
from transitioning young and for transitioning for
Nope.
so long.
This person has to take
Also notice, like, the overwhelming majority of detransitioners that they shove into the spotlight are trans, like, they transition from female to male. The overwhelming majority. You know why? Because they love the narrative of, like, a little girl being taken advantage of. Because they're a bunch of misogynist freaks who think that women can't think or do anything for themselves. They love that narrative. So those are the ones that get pushed to the front, and then they make a fuck ton of money doing it. Chloe Cole. I thought of it before you said it, Transitory, but thank you. Chloe Cole. Mundo Dollary Dues. Okay? Like, literally any woman can do this. Like, any cis woman or detransed man can just do this. They can just make shit up, too. Who's that one that literally just made up her entire backstory? Her mom owns, like, some kind of transphobic organization. What's her name? I was talking about grifting? Yeah. Yeah, they love their detrans grifters. What are the regret rates, man? Think before you sleep. What are the regret rates? I'm curious. Maya Poet, thank you. Yeah, Maya Poet. She, like, made up her whole backstory. It's insane.
medication permanently despite regretting
She's
the
a laughing
transition
stock.
because of the damage that transitioning caused. And it's sick because
Also, again, I must stress, like, the hormones that you go on if you are transitioning from female to male are the same hormones you go on if you are just naturally male, if you're a cis man. It's the same thing. So if you're, like, so abhorred and against, like, HRT for trans people, you should be equally abhorred and against natural puberty. Just put them all on puberty blockers, right? No more puberty. Honestly, I'll be real. If there were, like, a safe way, I haven't studied this enough, but, like, if there were a completely, like, I think I'd be fine with, like, all kids going on puberty blockers and just waiting until they're 16 to go on, to go through puberty. You know how we, like, all get our wisdom teeth removed? Like, that's just a thing we do because if you let your wisdom teeth grow in, it hurts. You know, like, your jaw's literally not physically made. Think about it. This is a good comparison, actually. Your jaw is literally not capable of handling those extra teeth. Like, 32 is too many for the human jaw, for most people. Like, some can handle it, but not all. So, like, the default is your wisdom teeth start growing in, and then you just go get them plucked. Like, oh, it's just a thing we do. You're going to go get your wisdom teeth taken out. Do it with puberty blockers. Seriously, I'm not even kidding. Like, just, oh, you're 12 now. You're starting to grow some facial hair. Like, okay, puberty blockers. Because you haven't, like, you're not old. Like, if trans people aren't old enough to be able to make up their minds, then neither are cis people, in my opinion. Put them all on puberty blockers. Let them wait. I think that puberty comes too early in the human life cycle. We've outgrown that mentally, okay? We're not animals anymore. You should not be sexually mature until you are mentally immature enough to engage in sex. I'd have to think about this a little bit more, but I could put up a strong argument for just throwing all kids on puberty blockers until they're 16. Did I miss TBYS making an appeal to nature? At the very beginning, yes. But to be fair to him, the person he was responding to said the word natural. He was being a bit disingenuous by saying, by interpreting the word natural the way he did. But again, technically the way he was using it was more correct than the way that the girl he was responding to was using it, so I don't know. Like, I'm letting that one slide.
the activist community loves to pretend that none of these drugs like hormone blockers have any side effects.
So
show me the research then, man. Show me the data that says puberty blockers are dangerous.
what was it for you that kind of woke you up to this isn't what I should have done?
I found out that homosexual transition was environmentally caused in almost every single case by childhood sexual assault.
This is like line for line what an NPC would say. Like, she's got this shit memorized. There's no way. These are lines that were fed to her.
Or by internalized homophobia or failed boy syndrome. People are being...
Failed boy syndrome? Hold up. Is this real? Chat, is this real? The only one that comes up is from GenSpect, which I'm fairly sure... Yeah, they're just a fucking transphobic organization. And it doesn't even say failed boy syndrome. The fuck is failed boy syndrome? It was a homosexual transition. You're getting your words jumbled up there.
Diagnosed. They're not being diagnosed with what actually causes the gender dysphoria. They're just being diagnosed with a symptom of a...
The gender dysphoria is typically primary in nature. There have been cases, I think, of gender dysphoria where it's secondary to, like, depression. I'm not saying that's impossible, but in the overwhelming majority of cases, the gender dysphoria is the primary problem, and thus the treatment is affirmation, gender affirmation. That is like what the DSM-5 says. That's what all the medical organizations in the goddamn United States says, and almost every medical organization worldwide. So what am I to do with that? Seems like gender affirming care is doing pretty good for most people. Sure, there are a couple people who regret what they did, and that sucks, and we should study it more so that that happens less. I don't like having detransitioners in society, because if you detransition, what that typically means is, it's not that I don't like detransitioners. It's just that, like, the fact that they are detransition, it'd be like like saying I don't like amputees in society. Like, I don't like the fact that, like, people are amputated, like that they need it, okay? Or that happened by accident. I don't like that. The more that we can reduce that, the better, okay? My point is I want to maximize people's happiness and freedom. So, like, the fact that we have detransitioners indicates that we're not perfect and we can get closer to perfect.
A problem, and there are multiple problems that cause those symptoms, and when you don't appropriately diagnose people, you lead them into a life of ruin. All of these interventions are permanent, they're irreversible, and they lied to me.
I don't know if the
All
numbers
scripted.
are that high, but sexual abuse
They
history
lied to me.
sure is commonly reported amongst people who transition, as well as symptoms of it like drug abuse and homelessness. Now, the age-old thing that the activists like to say is that
There's also a lot of sexual abuse, drug abuse, and homelessness among the gay population as well. You're more likely to suffer from these things if you are queer because, like, it's just like, you're more likely to get kicked out of your house. You're more likely to not be able to keep a stable job, because as soon as people find out you're gay, that just disqualifies you from a lot of jobs. Not as much anymore, thankfully, but it happened for a very long time, and the gay community still has not completely recovered from that. And now it's happening with trans people. You don't give a shit about improving the lives of trans people. You never have, and frankly, I hope one day that you do, but I don't think you will. Not if you keep going down this path. If you actually want to improve the lives of trans people, listen to the medical professionals and the people who have studied this shit and affirm them. Treat them like the gender that they are. Because trans women are women and trans men are men, okay? Like, that's just how it is.
you could end the life of a trans person by misgendering them. However, if you look at the studies
Nobody
that they
says that.
cite, the people in the high-risk categories are very often drug abusers or homeless, and HRT is not going to fix that.
And they don't care about the people.
It's not about HRT fixing the homelessness. But, like, also, you wouldn't want to fix the homelessness or drug abuse problems. You don't care. You have not convinced me one time that you care about these people. You gesture at caring about some of them, sure, but, like, it's all just a virtue signal. Because all the content I've seen from you indicates that you despise gay people. Clearly you despise trans people as well. There's no secret there, but, like, you don't really care about gay people either. I don't know, like, it's weird that, like, it seems like you so openly despise trans people, yet you point out that, like, they're more likely to be homeless and have these drug problems, right? Okay, I think we should fix that. I think we should take steps to fix that, yeah. And part of that is, like, caring about, like, their mental health. And their mental health is going to be much better if they're allowed to transition. All the data says that.
Who are indoctrinated, who are harmed by this loosey-goosey system where you can walk into a therapist in
It's so
15
scripted.
minutes
It's so
and be
scripted.
given a gender dysphoria diagnosis.
Right.
That just doesn't happen.
I think when Lily Tino makes a video dressed as Miss Rachel, that's not about educating people. It's about trying to find the next viral trend to build popularity and promote the OnlyFans account. I think these people rarely, if ever, talk about people who regret transitioning.
He's not wrong. It could be, sure. I'd be willing to accept that she's just chasing clout. But she's still a trans woman, and a lot of the stuff that she does is not wrong. There's nothing wrong with teaching children about trans people, because a lot of them are trans. If I recall correctly, it's between like 1 to 2% now of children identify as trans or non-binary. Yeah, they exist. They're allowed to exist. They ought to be happy with their existence, and it's not my business. Like, I always say this, right? I've given this example several times. You see a little girl out on the playground, or a child. You see a child on the playground. You see long hair, a dress, maybe like some nail polish or something, because why not? Playing with dolls. Pretty pink dolls, okay? I'm going to look at that and say, that's a girl, right? I'm going to assume that that's a girl. Now, if the parents come up and tell me that this is actually my son, he just likes dressing up like more feminine, then I'll respect that. But I'm just going to assume that's a girl, and until I'm, like, corrected, I'm just going to go with that assumption. At no point in this process do I think about this child's genitalia. At no point. I don't think about children's genitalia. Do you? It's kind of fucking weird if you do. It's not your business.
In fact, I've heard rumors that on Reddit, such people are shunned from the transgender forums. But the nefarious part with kids is that kids are easily manipulated, will often do what they think will impress their parents, and they have no life experience. They've only been around for a few years.
I've legitimately never, I'm not saying this doesn't exist, but I've legitimately never seen a case where it's like the parents trying to push transness onto their child. I've never seen it. Statistically speaking, it might as well not happen. There might be like a handful of cases of that, of like some weird ass parent who's like obsessed with trans people and being trans and gayness and whatever. And they're like, no, you're not a boy, you're a girl. You're a girl. You understand me? The irony of that is that that parent would be doing the same thing that conservative parents do. Telling trans children that they're not the gender that they say they are. It's the same thing, but in reverse. You are accusing us of the same thing that you people do. It's projection. It always is. Always projection.
So how are they supposed to know at 11 what their desires are going to be at 30 or 40 or 50? Where are the adults? Adults are supposed to be around as advisors to prevent kids from doing stuff they might regret in the long term. In fact, as a society,
they do.
I think it's people's responsibility to prevent those around them from making stupid decisions. A lot of people's dumb choices could be stopped if they didn't have a shitty friend group.
Again, show me the regret rate. If it's such a stupid decision, the regret rate should be sky high, right? Oh, it's not? Oh, okay. Well, then it's probably working, right? Yeah, I mean, that makes sense to me.
You want people in your life who will
Logic
sit you
checks
down
out.
and talk you through major decisions and give you corrective feedback. People need the feedback of others to know how to behave appropriately. It's something that I'm sure these narcissistic activists are missing in their lives. So let's do them all the favor of not appeasing their BS. Anyway, thanks for watching. Follow me on Twitter, and
I'm a little disappointed. I was told that this would be very, really wild. Like I had sources telling me that this one was particularly bad. Which, I mean, it's bad, don't get me wrong. It's just like, I don't know. I think Before You Sleep has to try harder. The transphobia was not strong enough or stupid enough. No, it was pretty stupid. It was pretty stupid. But, like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just numb. Am I just numb? Because, like, I didn't get super outraged. I'm just kind of tired of it. Like, I'm just like, I never really even needed to know that the concept of transness ever existed. Like, first of all, I think that, like, teaching people that trans people do exist is good and we should do that. But, like, in my head, I'm like, well, I didn't really learn that in school. And so, like, if people didn't make such a big deal about others being trans, I just simply would have never learned about it and would have died not knowing about it. And I would have been, none the worse off for it. Well, actually, I could make an argument that I would have been the worse off for it, because learning about trans people allowed me to explore my own sense of gender and being a man. And I came to the conclusion that I actually do like being a man, It didn't take me very long to explore it. I just, like, envisioned myself as a woman, and I'm like, it's not for me. So for some people, not for me. I guess my point is, like, conservatives are always constantly the ones bringing up trans people, like, always. You look at how many times it's brought up on Fox News versus, like, CNN. Like, Fox News is constantly talking about trans people. Conservatives are constantly talking about trans people. It's all they talk about. They're obsessed. It's a sickness. These people are sick and perverted, and I think that society would be better off without them. Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more, hit the notification bell to be notified when I upload. If you enjoy my content, you enjoy what I do, I really appreciate any financial help that I can get. Go to youtube.com/AlecGunterTTV/join. You got some awesome benefits, such as seeing early videos, awesome emotes that you can use in the comments of YouTube videos, and a sweet badge next to your name. So if that sounds interesting to you, I'd really appreciate if you join. It is cheaper than the cost of a blowjob from your mom. So with all that being said, thank you again for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.